What makes case different to any hair? Giving you a clue. It's not a chat box. It's uncut hair. Case is uncut hair, right? So what happens is that, you know, when you comb your hair, right? Do you comb your own hair? Do you get parents to comb your hair? Do you comb yourself? Is it nice and neat? Like no knots or anything, yeah? Tip top, yeah? ठीक है जी. So you know when sometimes you comb a case and some hair comes out, right? What do we do with that case? Right? We wouldn't chuck in the bin, right? We'd keep it separately. So we keep in a carrier bag. You can have a separate, like a dabba for it, a box for it. And then when that box gets filled with a lot of hair, you got to do something with it, right? So case sanskar very simply is when we take that case and we burn it, right? We burn the case, right? We do satkar of our case, right? And that's why we use our case sanskar, right? So mainly the main thing to do is burn the case. That's the main thing that people will do. And you can do that at home. You can get like one of those, you know, those metal like bin things with it, but don't put trash in it. Just a plain one and just burn it in there, and it burns very quickly. It's quite scary how quickly it can burn as well, right? Meaning that always keep your case. Like in a few years, you can have a long beard like your dad, right? So make sure you take care of it as well. So that's very simply case and scar. Many Guru Sikhs, when they do case and scar, they'll read Gurbani at the same time. They might even do Ardas as well. ठीक है जी. Same for like Gurbani as well. Like some people, if they got like a very old potisa that's bird, that has been kind of like, we say bird, we don't say ruined. Bird just means like it's older in that respect, right? Then we would also might do sanskar to that as well. First Ardas to baad read part. Sohela Sahib people read Chaupai Sahib and do it for that as well. ठीक है जी? हाँ जी. हाँ जी. The reason why we burn is because everything comes from mitti and everything will go back to mitti as well. So it's satkar of the case. But it's just like how we burn the body as well, is to avoid any attachment to it as well. Right? It just all becomes pasam, becomes swaha. So that's the best way to do satkar, is to take it back to its original form, dust, ash, and then we can scatter it, or it will just fly away in the wind anyway. But people take it to the flowing water as well, and put it in flowing water. So another option is also just putting it in flowing water. But the issue in England is that we don't have any more flowing water anyway. Right? It's just all clogged up pani. Right? Even in India, a lot of the pani doesn't, unless you go to a Papa Nadi, then it's scary, right? You probably die in those rivers, right? Because it's so fast. Right? But Hanji, that's another option as well. But that's why we'll burn it as well. So it goes back to its, just blossom back to ash. ठीक है जी? Hanji. Anyone else?
But the main reason was, ਉਹ ਜਿਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਲਿਖੀ ਗਈ ਉਦੋਂ ਇਸਲਾਮ ਦਾ ਰਾਜ ਸੀਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਇਸਲਾਮ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ unfortunately they used to read ilm. Ilm was bani of the negative kind. And ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਆ, they are reading ilm without knowing it. Whether neither you're alive or dead. So, and that's spiritual.
ठीक है जी. So next question is, when the word Nanak comes in Gurbani, what is the meaning of it. So it's, what's the last part of the question? What did they say last? What perspective? It depends on the Shabad itself, right? It could have many perspectives to it, right? So it could be Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji speaking themselves, saying it. It's like Nanak Neech Ka Hai Vichar. So that comes in Japji Sahib, right? Guru Sahib is saying Asank Murak Asank Kor. You know, all these kind of things. There's many people that do very lowly actions. So their Guru Sahib is saying Nanak Neech Ka Hai Vichar. So here we put a Vishram, a pause after Nanak. Mean that Guru Sahib is speaking about these lowly actions, right? But then another place, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji could be speaking about themselves and saying like Nanak Greeba Paya Devara. I'm a poor, I'm very humble, I've got nothing and I've come to your door. That could be Guru Sahib Ji speaking out of humility. So when it comes to the word Nanak in Gurbani, it has many different applications and meaning to it. There is a bit of Vyakaran in it as well. Vyakaran means the grammar, but to be honest with you, I've never really studied a lot of Vyakaran when it comes to Gurumukhi, something I'll do in the future. But when I was first learning, I just didn't want to learn grammar in Sikhi. I wanted to learn the art than the grammar side. But there's also like, if it's got onkar underneath it, kakke onkar, then it means something, or kakke sahari. But very simply, the perspective can change per Shabad, but also the perspective can change in the same Shabad. So even that same Nanak Neech Ka Hai Vichar, some people may read like that, Nanak Neech Ka Hai Vichar, mean that Guru Sahib themselves call themselves low. But many other Guru Sikhs would say that as a Sikh reading that, we wouldn't say that is the Mukh Art. That is the main translation, because we would not call Guru Sahib Ji Neech. Of course, Guru Sahib Ji may call themselves low themselves at their humility, which is fine. But us as the Mukh Art, the main translation we put as Nanak Neech Ka Hai Vichar. So there's many different applications and perspectives when it comes to the word Nanak. Nanak doesn't only refer to Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It does, but Guru Arjan Dev Ji write Nanak, Guru Ram Das Ji, because they all having showing satkar to their Guru, Sabte Vadda Sat Guru Nanak. There's no one greater than Guru Nanak Dev Ji, but they are also the fifth Nanak, or the fourth Nanak, or the ninth Nanak, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Even I was listening to Katha recently about Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani, and they'll even use the word Nanak in there as well. Or they use the word Gobind, but Gobind means Nanak anyway. There's no difference. They are one. Nanak Guru Gobind Singh, right? They're the same. Purana Guru Avatar, which you read in Aarti, right, when you sing it, right? So there's many perspectives to it as well. Is that okay? So I gave you a bit of an array of answers there for that. Hanji Penji. Hanji, 2 questions. Lucky me. Okay. Hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Yeah. 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 Hmm. 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 Anji. Hmm. 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 Thank you, Benji. That's a lot of scenarios right there. No, it's fine, G. The first question was about doing Vaiguru Simran and doing part. And you're just for anyone that couldn't hear, and you're saying that you find it easier to do Simran, to say Vaiguru, but not to do part, and your mind doesn't sit there. ठीक है जी. So the first thing is that they say the smaller the mantra, the more powerful it is in one respect, right? So like it's easier to focus maybe just on saying Vaheguru in that respect, right? And maybe it's something that you've had for a long time, right? Vaheguru mantra, right? So you might be very used to it. And it's quite easy to understand in the respect that we're calling out to Vaheguru. But when it comes to reading Gurbani, it could be more difficult if we don't understand what we're reading, if we don't have a connection to the writer of the Gurbani as well. There's many different ways. If we don't, do you get what I mean? So like if we understood what we're reading, first of all, our concentration would increase a lot right there. Like downstairs, you talked about Japji Sahib. We said, Pad, yeah, hat, pair, ratan, dehe. If you knew what we were reading, that Guru Nanak is saying to me that if my hands and feet were dirty, then I'll take water and clean it. Then it's like I'm reading it. Oh, I understand this. Right? Or if we learn how to read Gurbani in a more correct manner, then we'd be focusing, thinking, okay, hey, I've got to say it like this. Or like Guru Nanak Ji said this line when they were speaking to this person. And then these stories started going in the head of Guru Nanak Ji when they used to travel. So now our mind is fully absorbed. It's like when you eat food and you have something tasty like pizza. Everyone likes pizza, right? I hope. Right? And it's like some nice toppings and you're like, ooh, you get these different tastes and flavors. When you read Gurbani, it's like you're experiencing a lot of different things at the same time. So in order for, personally, my own vichar, to connect more to Gurbani, to reading it, try to understand it. That's where Katha comes in. Ding, ding, ding. Right? Listen to Katha. Maybe also learn how to read it correctly, because then you have to focus when you're reading part. It's not just like a habit. Do you get what I mean? Another thing is that try and repeat that part as well. Repetition. Repetition helps a lot. It builds. You need to build your own connection with that Bani. So the best place to start is Japji Sahib. Japji Sahib, go on our channel. Pajagras and done Katha of Japji Sahib in English. And it's beautiful. Because then the next morning, if you listen to the Pelli Paudi of Japji Sahib, then that morning when you read Japji Sahib, you know what Pelli Paudi is talking about. And you know, Socha, Sochna Hove, you know, oh, that's when Guru Nanak Ji said to the Siddhs that you cannot become, your mind will not become pure just by bathing a lot of times. Right? Or Socha, another arth is that if you keep thinking and thinking, you won't be able to understand Vaheguruji, or your mind won't become pure. Right? It's only through hukum rajai chalana, Nanak likhya. Now, if you accept the Guru's hukum, then you will. But all these thoughts will be going through your mind at the same time. So you can't get distracted. If you do get distracted, you're going to get distracted with the Guru. So that is what I recommend when it comes to that. When it comes to Gurbani, try to understand Gurbani. Hanji Viji. Yeah, that's great. Moo Mantar is a great place to start as well. So you go from Vaheguru to Moo Mantar Ek Oankar Satanam Karta Purkh. Then you may go Panch Paudiya of Japji Sahib. That's great. That's what I did. When I was younger, I only knew Mool Mantar. Then my Nani Ji taught me up to Pukhya Pukh Notari till I was like 15, 16. Then I started watching the channel and there I just started learning it through the Santhya on the channel. Panch Paudiya. Then I realized afterwards I was doing it all wrong. I had to go Santhya. But it's a good start anyway. So yeah, start small and takes, like, we call them Paudiya, right? Paudi means step. Just add a Paudi. Listen to a Katha eat a katha of each paudi every single day for 40 days, and I guarantee you'll feel a difference. You'll be able to connect more to the Bani. That's why katha is so important, but we don't listen to a lot of katha these days. Listen to kirtan, which is fine. That's amazing. But we got to have a balance of katha and kirtan. Katha has its own place. That's why Guru Saji gave us katha as well, right? Like the downstairs, you said, Sun har katha utari mail. There's another line, Sabate utam har ki katha. The greatest thing you can listen to is God's katha. Sabate utam har ki katha. Naam sunata dard duk latha. By listening to it, all your pains will be taken away. Is that okay for the first question? That's my recommendation. Understand what the Guru is saying to you. If you don't understand someone, you're not going to really pay attention to them. Imagine that when you're kids and you're like, there was someone in the house. I mean, when I was a kid and they speak Punjabi, or when I come to the Godara and the Bhai Sahib on stage just speak Punjabi, and I was like, I have no idea what this person's on about. Now I've got to make patterns with the carpet, right? And like play games with the carpet and stuff like that, right? I don't know if you guys used to do that or like he's doing right now, right? Basically, that was me. But I'm speaking the same language you speak though, but he doesn't seem to understand. Yeah, he doesn't. Right? But you get it, right? But when you understand what they're saying, then you stop and you're like, oh, like obviously sitting on stage, I see people walk in and when they speak English, they look at me. And you know, they look at me like, oh, he speaks English. And once I started the katha, speaking Punjabi, then I said, I was so blessed that everyone looked up. They all sitting against the fence, the wall, and they were like, you know, like this, like bad dukhi in it, because they've got to be there for 2 hours, Sukhuni Sai part, and their knees are killing them, and they're leaning against the wall. And then you speak English, and then they wake up, right? Kind of thing, right? So that's the first one. The second question was a very long one. It's to do with people giving food to the poor, and those poor people selling it to make money. So are you trying to say what is the point of doing that if you know they're doing that? How do you know? Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. ठीक है जी. Hmm. 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 हाँ जी. ठीक है जी. Yeah. Why did they run after them for? Sorry. Yeah. Oh, so you're saying, just to understand, that the poor people run after them for the food and sell it. Yeah. Yeah. ठीक है जी. So look, Benji, when it comes to helping other people, it's a very important thing to do, right? But sometimes you get confused. How do we truly help somebody else, right? That's where it comes down to. And then who should we help? Who shouldn't we help? Like you're saying earlier about, looking at everybody equally. The first thing is that if you look in Gurbani, Gurbani tells us that Sadaba Tadama, Mehesrest Tadama, Hadako Nam Japa Nidamal Karam. So the highest thing you could do in this life is recite God's name and do good actions. But understand how the Guru is saying that. Say first recite God's name. Meaning that in one respect, we have to work on ourselves. When we work on ourselves, we build an internal compass. Meaning that we kind of know what we need to do. It's at the inner voice. Tika? Then it's much simpler and easier to do good actions. Because we have this internal compass from the Guru. And then even the idea of what you talk about seeing everyone equally, that's called samdrishti, to see everybody equally. And again, that comes from when we clean the dirty lens in our eyes, and we can see that, right? Now, when it comes to these situations, it's very hard, right? Because again, it's like, we're always told, don't give money to poor people, give them food. Because if you give them money, they're going to buy drugs and alcohol. Or they might buy food with it. You never know. Again, you don't know who's good and who's bad. It's very hard to work out. Right? Even in the Guru Sahib's days, even now, right? Then now there's the idea of the same thing. You give them food and it could lead to them selling the food, or now they eat the food and then they save their money to buy drugs and alcohol, right? So it's a very difficult one. It's a very hard situation. One thing that comes to my mind is apana hati apana api ka jaswadi, yeah? The Guru has given you two hands, right, to do things yourself. So one of the simplest things that the Guru did themselves, they set up langar, right, where you'd have to come somewhere where you'd have to eat food, right? And you can see that when Guru Sikhs serve food outside, for example, they might serve a hot meal, right, that is given to them on like a, like pasta, right, at that moment, right? But I'd say personally, don't get too caught up in it. Right? At the end of the day, you're there to do good actions. You're there to do, do nirmal karam. But the first thing importantly is that you build your internal compass, right? And I wouldn't focus too much on other people. Yeah, they're doing good actions. That's great. And maybe it's coming from a good place, right? Your friends are. So I wouldn't get too caught up in it. Trust your internal compass and do those actions that you think are going to help other people. Maybe it isn't giving food then. Because a lot of people are doing that. I'm not saying don't give food at the same time. But if you feel comfortable with that, there's a lot of other types of seva you could do out there. Just look at mental health, alcohol abuse. These people are suffering. You're saying that people are going to sell the food and they're going to buy alcohol. Then maybe stop worrying about the food and go and support those people who are addicts in alcohol. Do you get what I mean? So there's a lot of ways to look at it and spend your time doing seva there and fix that problem. Otherwise, everyone's going to still do what you're saying then, right? So maybe focus on that then. What are these people going to spend the money on then and solve that solution, which is helping out with these, because again, it stems from mental health, maybe just abuse, some addiction from young age, and put your time and effort into that. And then these people will stop abusing. Is that okay, Benji? So that's just giving an alternative, a solution to that. Otherwise, we're going to be wondering ourselves all the time, this food that I'm serving, are you going to eat it? Or you're going to give it to someone else? But at least we know that those people that could be using it to make money to do drugs and alcohol, maybe I should go and solve that issue and help those people. Hanji VG. That's what I meant by the pasta, innit? Like unpackaged. So that is a quick fix, unpack, because then they won't eat it then, right? Or like in India, for example, I remember, the kids, they just run after you and they attack you and they want food. They ask for money and you give them food and then they go and sell it. Because I never knew this, what you're saying now. I didn't know until I went to India and we went to a shop with a poor kid. Supposedly, who knows, maybe they are, maybe they're not. Maybe he's got a better phone than me, right? And I've seen that before. I don't want to go off on a tangent. Once I saw this beggar and she's on the street and she was asking for money and she pulled out her phone and I was like, you got a better phone than me. I might as well switch with you, right? Do you get what I mean, right? So I'm not saying I'm going to do that, but the shopkeeper goes to me, goes, I'm not going to give this whole, whether it was like a cereal box with a lot of them in them, they go, oh, it's bread or something. I don't know. They said, I'll open the bread, give them some bread. Don't give them the whole, because the whole bread thing, whether it's called the package, because they're just going to sell it, open it up so they can't sell it, right? So you never know, right? So like Viji said, unsealed, or maybe just look at what is the root issue. If it's the alcohol, then maybe we should go and support those people who are dealing with alcohol issues, right? And that way, then we don't feel guilty. We're going to the source of the problem. Is that okay, Benji? Hanji VG.
Can I just add, I agree with all of that, and I think if you're working in this kind of environment, you have to protect yourself. But at the same time, if you're going to help others, you shouldn't expect anything back, even what they do with it afterwards.
That's a very good point about like how BoS these things are selfish. There's no self in that, right? Yes, 100%. But just looking at the other perspective is that we have to also take responsibility for the money that we're spending and using as well. So there's a factor of responsibility. Again, we can't work ourselves up too much and become stressed like, where did that pound go? What did they do with it? But at the same time, we should take responsibility, i.e. the pankti apan hati apan api kajasavadiya, that with your own hands solve your own problems. If you know especially you, someone else would be fine doing that. That's cool. Like, I remember in the past, I walked through the town centre and I'll see someone, I'll go to Greg's and buy him pasty. pasties are very nice from Greg's, right? Yeah, and like an orange juice or something, right? But at the same time, then you may have this in you that, well, this feeling inside you, this doesn't feel right. Then solve that, innit? Go and go to the root issue. But there's nothing. I understand that with child as well. That is fine as well. That if there's no self in that. But at the same time, there's that idea of taking responsibility of where your money is going, because at the end of the day, you are contributing to that in some kind of respect as well.
Can you please explain to me Vaheguru?
ठीक है जी. So I'll answer this question. Actually, then I'll go to Manpreet in the back to Penji as well. To explain Vaheguru, that is the question. That is a very hard question. That's probably the hardest question to answer. So I cannot give you an answer. According to Gurbani, to explain Vaheguru ji, Guru Sahib says, Ik Oankar, that they are one. Oankar, they are Sarvada Prakashak, they reside everywhere. Ik Oankar, Satanam, they are the complete truth. In all three ages, past, present, future, they are Nashtoret, they cannot be destroyed. Naam, Hanji.
May I explain it?
Hanji, you can explain ji.
Wah.
Mhm.
Hai, Hu, Ru.
Hanji.
Wah is God.
Hmm.
Hai is Guru, teacher.
Mhm.
Yes?
Hanji.
That is what Guru Nanak Maharaj Ji has given us.
Hanji.
Guru Nanak Maharaj Ji has seen God.
Mhm.
That's why when he saw God, he went ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਫਾਰਸੀ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਸੀ.
Hanji.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਵਾਹ
Mhm. Hanji.
ਵਾਹ.
So Bhai Sahib ji is saying
That is
here,
God.
Hanji. Bhai Sahib ji is saying that an arth that they do for Vaheguru is Vaha. So again, we know in many expressions, and Bhai Sahib ji said this a lot, Zopai Jagrad Singh, that when you have something, when you're amazed, what do we say? In English, we say wow.
Yeah.
But in Punjabi, we don't say wow, we say Vah.
Wow.
Right? So it's an expression as well. Vah, Guru. Guru, teacher. Guru. Gu means dark. Ignorance. Ru means prakash, light. That true enlightener, Atma, who allows us to understand our true form. The Atma. Mantu Jyot Srupa Apana Mool Pachanda. Oh my mind, you are that Jyot Roop. You are the light of Vaheguruji. Hanji.
Vaheguru is the cleansing of mind, body and soul. That's what Vaheguru is. Now, I didn't even know that word when I got into Sikhi. Now, when you say Vaheguru, 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 and you repeatedly say it, also, Apna Japji Sahib Path tells you when to say it. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਪੌੜੀ ਤਾਂ ਦੂਜੀ ਪੌੜੀ ਪੜੋਗੇ ਨਾ, you will see it. And it tells you when to do your nickname also. And it's not early crack of dawn or etc. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੰਤ explain ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. Sorry, I found out for myself. ਰਹਿਰਾਸ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ, then get the solar etc etc. But in some Gotke today that have been printed, they are, be careful when you read them. If you cannot read Punjabi, but even in Punjabi ਚ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਈ words ਗਲਤ ਲਿਖੇ ਹੋ, so be
as well. When it comes to Suroops that may be printed at Gurkha Sahibs, yes, there can be mistakes found in them, and that is mainly due to the printing press, and those that are printing it. However, we still have the Puratan Suroops of Guru Sahib Ji's from Guru Sahib Ji Sama, from those of Baba Deep Singh Ji, Bhai Mani Singh Ji. So even though we do find galtiya, we do find mistakes, but that is to do with the printing press. But we're very lucky to have those Puratan Suroops and Guru Sikhs who do Khoj. That it's not that apparent. Like right now, a lot of the stuff we find is on our phones, and a lot of the stuff on our phones, the Gurkha Sahibs are checked. So we don't have that issue. And even if there was a difference in the part spelling, 99% of the time, even more, the arth is still the same. The translation is still the same, just the part was written a bit differently. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But Binti hai that we move on to another question afterwards. Manpreet Singh. Hanji. Okay. Hmm. Yes. That's really nice. Hmm. VG's point is very good, just so everyone else that couldn't hear, that sometimes we have this expectation we do part, that we're meant to expect to get happiness. But what's beautiful in itself is that the Guru told you to do it. Why is the hukam is to do Japji Sahib. Even in Bhai Gurdas Ji's writings, they talk about that the name of the Guru Sikhs in Guru Sahib Ji Sama was Jap, Swernu, Rehra Sahib Sodar, they Arti Sohela before they go to bed. So this is something the Guru would do themselves as well, and the Sikhs would do. Right? So just getting that comfort and knowing that my Guru is happy with me because I'm following what the Guru is saying. And also when it comes to doing part, Pave Amrit Vela, Ja Sandhya Vele, evening, morning, these times were given to us by the Guru. This is what the Guru practiced themselves as well to do it. Even Baba Buddha Ji, who was a Sikh of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Baba Buddha Ji was called Bhai Buddha Ji. The name was Buddha. They weren't called Buddha, they were called Buddha when they were very young. And what happened was one day Baba Buddha Ji was Bhai Buddha Ji, they were in the fields and the army had come. What the army did was that they cut all of the khed. They cut all the crops, everything there. Wherever they were big crops, wherever they were little crops. And Bhai Buddha Ji, they came to Guru Nanak Dev Ji and they said they were very different to another 11-year-old kid. How old are you? Oh, 5. What about you? Oh, TK. So so we're like similar ages then, right? So when Baba Buddha Ji, you heard of Baba Buddha Ji? Yeah, so Baba Buddha Ji, when they were 11, so like 3 years, when you're in 3 years time for you, they had seen all these little crops and all these big crops being cut. And what do you think they thought in their mind? Any ideas? It's to do with death. I gave you a clue there. Big crops, little crops, and death. Work it out.
Some die in young death, some die in
Yes. Some will die when they're young, when they're very old, and some will die when they're very young. And Baba Buddha Ji, Bhai Buddha Ji realizes at the age of 11. And when they told Guru Nanak Dev Ji this, is that you're not Buddha, you're Buddha, you're very Siana. You're very wise for understanding this, right? At such a young age, right? So I don't know what point was. My point was here was that Baba Buddha Ji at that time was blessed with Brahmgyan by Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji. That was the point, right? So they obtained that state of oneness at a very young age. And they said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji that, look, there's no need for me to do anything now. I don't need to do part, technically, because I've become one with that part. There is no difference. I've become one with the one. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji said to him, nay, they go, you have to do it. And Baba Buddha Ji said, why? And they go, because everybody else is going to look at you and see what you're doing. Why? So if Baba Buddha Ji were to wake up every morning, do Amrit Vela, and they go, Baba Buddha Ji is such a Chardikala Guru Sikh, I've got to do what Baba Buddha Ji is doing. So a lot of times these great beings are doing it to show us how to live our lives. But again in Japji Sahib, they ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji this question. It comes in Japji Sahib. It's the Pankti Pata Tirat Tap Deko Sabgun Tere Me Nahi Koe Vin Gun Kite Bhagt No Hoye. Sab Gun Tere Me Nahi Koe Vin Gun Kite Bhagt No Hoye. They're saying at the time, they say to Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Bhagats, they say, hey Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, when should we do Bhagati? They say, Sab Gun Tere, all qualities are yours, Vin Gun Kite Bhagt No Hoye. But they say, without having these qualities of compassion, of love, of forgiveness, we cannot do bhakti. Because that person that doesn't have forgiveness in their mind, that mind cannot sit still. You realize, if somebody ticks you off, annoys you, can you sit down and do part? No, because your mind is running around in all these thoughts, right? Sab gun tere mein nahi koi vin gun kite bhagt no hoye. Then they say, hey Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, when should we do bhakti? When? The Guru Nanak says, swast arth bani barmao sat sohan sada mancha. They say swast. Swast he means amrit vela. Swast for arth. Arth means in the evening. Sandhya de vela. They say every morning, every evening, bani barmao. Bani means Gurbani. Barmao means ucharan karo. Recite Gurbani every morning, every evening. But then they say sat sohan sada mancha. Which means that one who is indestructible, Sohan, who is so beautiful, Sada Manacha. But don't just get stuck in the morning and the evening, Sada Manacha. Forever remember them. Hanji Viji. Has you got a question?
Yes.
Hanji, what's the question?
So they taught at school like about Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
So it's a hard one to answer.
Hanji.
So where did Bible come from?
Theek hai ji. Is that your question, yeah? You learned that in school?
He's asked me a few times as well.
Oh, theek hai ji. What is the Big Bang? Teach us, bro. What's the Big Bang Theory? Any ideas? Not when Guru Nanak Dev Ji came, but in one respect you could say that. So Viji's question is about the Big Bang Theory, and what was it specifically about it? What was it?
Where's the Sikhi aspect to that?
Theek hai ji. What is the Sikhi aspect to the Big Bang Theory? Theek hai ji. So obviously we all heard the Big Bang Theory, we learned it in school, right? That from like one particle, a thing was created, right? It's an expansion. Am I correct? Science Monday in the room? Yeah, kind of these things like, yeah, that's cool, right? And everything expanded from that one. Theek hai. From a vibration. Theek hai ji. It's been a long time since I was in school, right? So I don't remember the exact. And there's the red something spectrum and the blue spectrum, right? Now the red is when it expands and blue is when it goes back in, the crunch. Right? You'd be so proud of me, my science, right? So anyway, if whoever's watching this who knows science, I'm sorry if I got it the wrong way around or I said something wrong, right? But very simply, the Big Bang. So it comes many times in Gurbani. Now, I'm not here to say that Gurbani is in line with science, right? I'm here to say that a lot of science can go in line with Gurbani. Because a lot of people, they try and sell religion by saying that, oh, look, science agrees with us, so we agree with science, right? But Sikhi is way beyond all this science stuff, right? First of all.
Yes.
So, first thing I'll say, it comes at the start of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the start of Japji Sahib. What is the first thing a Guru says to us? Man United top. What's his name again? Alam Singh. Alam Singh. What is the first thing a Guru says to us in Japji Sahib? What's the first thing? What's the first word? Ik Oankar, right? So Guru Sahib is they're saying to us that from that ik, from that one, do you know how to spell Oankar, how to write it? You've seen it before, right? It's like this, right? But on your side it's gonna look the other way, but I don't know how to do that. It's like this, right? And then it's like it goes like that, right? If you look at old written Oankars, they were very long. It wasn't just like it was like this. It'd go for a long time. And sometimes they would even go and come back into the Oankar. It would go back into the letter itself. Meaning that from that one, everything was created. Oang is a vibration. It's a sound. Comes in many different faiths as well. They talk about it. So from that one, everything was created. And we say that their prakashik, their light resides in everyone. So Gurbani speaks about it in the first word or number. That from that one, everything was created. Kita pasao eko kavao, tiste hoye lakh dariya. You heard that before in Japji Sahib, the Kita Pasao, from that one, and whole expansion was made. Eko ka sab, they say lakh dariya, many rivers, everything was created. Khanda, Brahmand, many worlds were created from that one. So very simply, yes, when it comes to the Big Bang, you can align that with what the Guru is saying. Chaupe Sahib, you like Chaupe Sahib, right? Everyone likes Chaupe Sahib. Even they say jab ud karka kara karatara, praja tar tab deh apara. That when Vaheguru created this world, they expanded and everything went out. Jab aa karka karta ho kabahu, tum mein milat deh tar sab hu, tum mein milat. That when everything goes back in, tum mein milat. You will reunite with me again. Meaning that everything was created from the one, came out, and then it will all go back into the one as well. So we're like a drop, you know, the ocean. We are all drops from the ocean. We have left the ocean. We are on the earth, and one day we'll go back to the ocean as well. And if you have the question, why did God do that for? What was the reason for that? They say, Karte karna aap lokaya. That means that only they know themselves. That comes with Bhai Gurdashi's Bani. That Karte Karn, Karte means the creator, Karn means the reason for the one doing that, Aap Lokaya. Only they know themselves. But if you want to know that, you're not going to find it in a science book. You're only going to find it by becoming one with that one again. Is that okay? Hanji.
Question linking to this. Do
Do Sikhs
Sikhs believe in aliens?
believe in aliens? It's not about whether Sikhs believe in aliens or not. We do believe that there's different galaxies and planets. And if you read Guru Nanak Dev Ji's history, and it comes in Bhai Gurdashi's Vara as well, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji traveled to different galaxies and planets. When Guru Sahib Ji went to Afghanistan, to Baghdad, it's in the writings of Bhai Gurdas Ji, they met a Peer, a Muslim saint called Peer Dastagir, and Peer Dastagir did a lot of shanka on Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They doubted Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Because Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, Patala, Patala, Lakha, Agasa, Agas, which means that there's many worlds. Many. Lakh. Lakh means hundreds of thousands. But when they say lakh, it means aginat, countless. Another arth to that was heavens and hells. Patala, Patal means the hells. Agasa, Agas means the heavens, the upper worlds. And the Muslims said to Guru Nanak Dev Ji that, but Muhammad Sahib, our prophet, they said it was 7. So is Guru Nanak Dev Ji calling Muhammad Sahib a liar? And Guru Nanak said, no, Muhammad Sahib is not lying. But if Muhammad Sahib only saw 7, then they only saw 7. So they're telling the truth from their perspective. Like if we all was in this dark room and there's an elephant in the middle of the room, and I touched the elephant's tail, and I said the elephant is very skinny and very soft. And then somebody else touched the elephant's leg, I said the elephant's really big. And someone else touched the trunk, and they said, no, it's got a weird shape, right? Everybody understands something from their own drishti, from their own glance. Same way when it comes to different prophets, whatever they saw, they saw. They're not lying, they're telling you what they saw. But Guru Nanak said that there's more than 7. There's lakh, there's countless. And they go, we don't believe you. And Guru Nanak said that, look, I'll take your son with me, and we'll go to all these different galaxies. And they brought back prasad from all them.
May I interrupt? Sorry.
Hanji.
ਮਾਫ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ for interrupting.
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਮੁਹੰਮਦ ਜਿਹੜਾ fine